All right. Hello, Jessica.
Hi.
Thanks for coming in today. How are you feeling about being here?
I mean, to be honest, I wasn't really sure if I should still come. Like, I was um, kind of debating whether or not I really need therapy. I
Hmm.
came because some of my friends suggested that maybe I should try it out. But I really don't know what it's supposed to look like, or if it even helps me, or if like it's my problems are serious enough for therapy, or I just, yeah, I wasn't really sure if I was gonna show up.
Okay. Well, that's more than fair. I think that is a common concern in approaching therapy if you haven't experienced any one-on-one sessions before. I'm glad that you're here and thank you for sharing that with me. The purpose of this conversation isn't so much to we'll try and navigate that in this session and talk through what it was that was a flag to your friends to point you towards therapy and maybe dive a little bit deeper into what it is that is causing you stress and anxiety right now. And then at the end of the session, we'll circle back and see how you're feeling and talk through if we think there's potentially more work that we can do together. Does that all sound good to you?
Yeah.
So our session today is going to be 45 minutes. I shared the client consent form with you, and I saw that you sent that back over signed. I just wanted to make sure you didn't have any questions. It's pretty much stating that anything we talk about today is confidential, with the exception of any child abuse that you may be referring to. I am legally required by law to report that.
Yeah, I don't think that I have any questions.
All right, awesome. Well, so you've mentioned that your friends kind of pointed you in the direction of therapy. Um, would you like to expand on the context in which those conversations happened?
Uh, yeah, so I've just been feeling pretty overwhelmed lately. I just started, I'm in my first year of med school, and I started that this fall. So a lot has been kind of going on, and I've been really busy, and really kind of tired and just stressed. And so I was telling some of my friends about that, and they suggested that maybe I need to talk to a professional. But yeah, like I said, I don't really know if that's something I need to see a therapist for.
That could help.
Yeah.
That could help. When you say that you're feeling tired and stressed, what does that look like out of your ordinary kind of pattern of behavior?
Well, I noticed that I've had a lot of trouble concentrating lately. I have a lot of, there's always things I need to be doing, but it's been really hard for me to just focus. Sometimes I'll just be staring at an assignment or a textbook or something, and I just can't retain any of it. So it's been really hard for me to focus, and I just haven't really been sleeping that much lately. I don't really know why. I just can't sleep. So feel tired, but at the same time, I don't know. I just have been getting maybe 4 hours of sleep.
Oh wow.
Most nights. Yeah. So I just yeah, there's that too. and I've been so busy that it's been like hard for me to like keep in touch with friends and family. And that's something that I feel like pretty bad about, especially because like my friends are really important to me. And sometimes I worry that maybe like they'll just like stop trying to reach out to me, or they're just like angry and frustrated with me because I just like don't. It takes me so long to respond to their messages, and sometimes I just like get stressed and look at them, and I just like don't feel like I have the energy. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It sounds like a lot of things are piling on you right now. And starting med school is a huge transition. And maintaining social ties during all of that while you're not sleeping is definitely, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, I guess, to have close friends, but to feel like you don't have the time to kind of respond in the way that you would like. So I see and hear, yeah, this cycle that you're on right now, and I'm wondering, do you have a support network in your housing? I think on your intake form you had mentioned that you had a roommate.
Yeah, so I do live like with a friend off campus. We did like undergrad together, so it's been good that like I'm able to live with her. But we're also both like super busy, so I don't really get to see her too much. And like she also like has things that she needs to do, and I think I need to do. So yeah, I've also found it kind of like hard. It's been like harder than I thought it would be to like make friends in med school. Like I moved to like my school is like not like very diverse. Like the majority of the other students are like white men. And so that's been like a big adjustment for me, especially because like I grew up in a community that was a lot more diverse. And like it's just like I don't feel completely comfortable around like a lot of the other students. So it's been harder than I thought to like feel like connected. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling kind of disconnected from your classmates. And I know that right now, in particular, it might, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you find that right now with current news and whatnot that your cultural and racial identity, the diversity that you referred to, has been exacerbating the stress that you're having?
I don't know if it's like, I think it's like less the recent news, just more like, I feel like there are kind of like, people don't really say it that much, but they do have like different expectations for me, or like certain expectations of like how they think I should act, because like I am an Asian woman, and like a lot of them like don't, like a lot of my classmates aren't really used to being around like other like Asian people. So I feel like there is kind of like a little bit of like an expectation that I like do work like really hard, and like I'm really smart, and just like I like know everything that I'm doing. And I don't know, sometimes like I'm kind of, sometimes I like worry that people will like realize that I'm not like that smart, or like I don't know, like sometimes I feel like the fact that I'm in med school is kind of like a fluke. Like I don't know, it just seems like everyone around me is like more together and like knows more of what they're doing than I do. And maybe like it'll just like take some time to like notice that. Like I don't know, like I've always been a good student, but I feel like I've always had to work like a lot harder than like a lot of other people. Yeah, so I don't know. I think there is like I do feel like some pressure for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I imagine, I mean, as you said, you're surrounded by a population that kind of differs from you and is part of the majority. And as white males, they can tend to not think outside of their cultural boxes. So that I'm sure doesn't make it any easier to find a sense of community on campus. Whew. Do you have you explored? I don't want to problem solve for you, because the purpose here is to kind of help you or give you a safe space to talk about these things. And I want you to feel like you can share the feelings that you're having without me attempting to propose solutions. So I guess in terms of what you just shared, what do you think is important to you moving forward this year? What do you see the next semester looking like at med school if you were to have your ideal kind of community around you?
I don't know, that's kind of hard to imagine. I'm just like trying to get through it. I don't know, I feel like this is one of the hardest parts of like I knew it was going to be hard to be in med school and it was going to be a lot. And so I feel like I just kind of have to power through. Like there's not really that much I can do. I just have to try to make the best of it. I don't really know like what the ideal scenario would look like.
Okay, that's fair. Well, it sounds like you have a lot of drive and you must have to have gotten to this position now, getting into med school. Would you, I'd like to invite you to share some of the strengths that you see in yourself and how you see that playing in to where you're at now.
I guess it's kind of hard for me to like think about strengths right now just because I feel like I've been so bad at managing everything lately. Like I guess I would usually say I feel like I'm a good friend, but I don't feel like I've been a good friend lately. Or like I guess I did want to become a doctor, like partially because I do want to help people. But yeah, it's a bit hard for me to think about like my strengths because I feel like a lot of the things that I usually take pride in are like not things that have been going well for me lately. Like I haven't been doing as well in my classes as like I expected to or I thought I would. So like it's not like I've been like a particularly good student either. So yeah, I don't know.
That can be hard. And it's not easy if yeah, finding yourself to not be the smartest person in the room sometimes means that's where you're meant to be and being challenged, but the yeah, the balance is key there. And I think that you should take the time to celebrate yourself and the reasons that drove you to go into a field that aims to save lives and to help heal people. I think that's very admirable. And I'm sure that the journey there was was not straightforward. And I'd like you to maybe give yourself a little bit of space to grow into this new role that you've taken on, and to kind of practice letting go of the need to handle everything. It sounds like you are a good friend, and are worried about your responses to your friends, which signifies how much you care. And I'm sure your good friends know, the stress that you're under, and want you only to feel supported and not stressed out by responding to them. Have you gotten the sense that they are frustrated by your lack of responses?
I mean, well, they haven't like said it to me, like they haven't like told me that they're frustrated, but I don't know. I just like I feel like I'm always like responding really late. And like I'm always like apologizing because I feel like I haven't like sometimes it'll be like a couple days, it'll be like a week before I respond. So they haven't like said anything, but I don't know. I kind of worry that like over time maybe they'll just like stop messaging, or like we just like won't be as close anymore. Or like maybe they are frustrated, but they're not gonna say anything. They don't want to stress me out more. I guess so. It's just like more of a feeling.
I can see that. You have this sense that you're letting that ball drop, if you will. Yeah, that's tough. And friendships definitely do fluctuate at different points in our lives. And it's possible that you're experiencing one of those shifts. Have you recently moved? Are you still close by?
No, so I moved to like the eastern part of the state, so I'm not like none of my friends, like my close friends, live nearby. It's like I live with like my roommate is a friend, but she's like not one of my like closest friends. Like I don't get to see her that often because like we're both really busy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my friends are also like I think it's been harder for me too because like my friends, I consider them like my main support system. Like I'm not like my relationship with like my parents is like kind of complicated, and so like my friends have always been like more of the people that I talk to about like my emotions and stuff.
And mentioning your parents, could you expand a bit on what complicated means when it comes to your relationship with your parents?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel kind of bad like saying anything like negative. Just I know my parents like love me, and they've like always made sure that like I like have they've like always financially supported me, and they've worked like really hard to make sure that I had like good opportunities and like could go to a good school and stuff. So they've like done all of that for me, but I wouldn't say that they're like the most like emotionally supportive. Like I didn't. I guess one of the reasons too why I wasn't really sure if I should come to therapy is because like mental health, like as a concept, is kind of like new to me. Like I don't know, like it wasn't something that I ever talked like we ever talked about growing up in my family. And like mental health, it's just not like my parents like don't really believe in that. Like both of my parents, like I immigrated to the US when I was like 1, from Shanghai, China. And like in like Chinese culture, it's not like mental health is not really like seen as like a lot of times it's not really seen as like a disease or like an actual like illness. It's like like I think if I told my mom that I was in therapy, she'd just be like, "Why do you need that? Like that's for white people. Like that's not actually a disease. You just need to like get over it." So it's just like it's new to me to like think that maybe I actually do like need to take care of my mental health. Like the idea of like even being in therapy is like kind of weird. But yeah, so I wouldn't say like my parents are like the most emotionally supportive, and like I don't have any siblings, which is something I always like kind of wish that I did have, because I think that maybe they could have been more of like a support system for me. Like my parents worked really hard growing up, when I was growing up, so like my dad was like always working, so he wasn't around much, and my mom was also working full time, so like I spent a lot of time by myself growing up. So I just like I guess I don't really feel that comfortable like sharing a lot of things in my life with them. And my mom can be like kind of critical. I feel like whenever I do share things with her. So I just like I don't really, that's why like I rely on my friends more than I do them. Yeah.
I see. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. And again, I'm glad that you're here. I think that your parents both sound like very strong people, having moved countries with you as a child. And I think sometimes that, you know, strength makes it seem like talking to someone is, or there's perceptions of strength where they don't include the emotional strength, and facing what it is we feel and allowing it air to breathe is another form of strength. And just want to celebrate you for having the strength to come here in the face of that, and um, being able to kind of see the way that your parents' perception of therapy might have impacted you, because I think that's pretty important. Um, and I'm curious about your experience, as I'm sure it sounds like your parents are maybe resistant, a, resistant a bit to therapy, and white culture, as you say, what that looks like growing up.
I mean, I think when I think about it, it's just like a lot of like we just never really talked about like mental health, and a lot of like whenever like my mom was stressed or like my parents were stressed growing up, they kind of just like didn't talk about it. Like I would know that they're like I could sense that they were stressed, but they just like didn't really say anything. And like sometimes my mom would be like really impatient, or like sometimes she would just like yell at me for things that I didn't think were like a really big deal. But I think that maybe that's just because like she was stressed, and like I don't know if they've ever had like any like mental health issues, because they would never like talk about it. Like I bet it wasn't easy to move from China to the US when they did, but like I don't, they like don't really say too much besides like, that they like worked hard, and like the reason why they moved is so that like I could have better opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't really know. I think it's I do feel kind of this pressure to just keep going anyways. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like I should just like not think about it too much, but obviously that hasn't been working. So
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned that you've been sleeping more than normal and having trouble focusing while you're making this adjustment. And I just want to better understand how you're feeling when so you're not sleeping enough, and then when you do wake up, are you feeling any sense of excitement? Are you feeling are you happy to be in med school, or just primarily stress?
I think I just like I feel like mostly just tired. And I've like been trying so hard to like focus on just like getting the things that I need to do done, that I don't really think too much about like whether or not I'm like happy or like like I'm just like trying to get through it. So I don't know, like I don't like regret med school, because like I've always something I've always wanted to do, and I don't like, if I didn't do this, I don't know what else I would do, because I'm like not, I feel like I'm like not very good at like any of like arts and like artistic things, or like social sciences or humanities or anything. Like I'm not, that's it's not my strength. So like I feel like there's not really that many other like options for me. But yeah, at the same time, I'm just like tired, and I guess I don't really know how I feel. I'm just trying to get through it.
So med school for you was a childhood dream, it sounds like. Or like, was it something that you looked at as this is what you wanted for your life? Were there other influences for why med school? Or was there ever a time that you had an image of something else that you wanted to do?
Not really. I mean, I do think that like I guess my parents do have a little bit to do with my decision to become like a doctor. I never really thought about doing anything else, but they've always like been like supportive of that, and I feel like being a doctor is like one of the like things that I'm doing that like my mom was actually approved of. I don't know, I guess there was a lot of pressure for me to like do like be successful and like choose like a job that like I don't know, like my parents like did, like I moved to the US specifically so that I could get better opportunities and like go to school and stuff. And so like I guess it was always just kind of expected that I would do something like this. But at the same time, like it's also something that I think I want to do. Like I do want to be able to help people. But yeah, I do sometimes feel kind of like some pressure, I guess, from like mostly my mom. I don't really like my dad. I'm not that close with my dad. It was mostly my mom who took care of me, like just because he like was working so much and wasn't around that much, and he just like doesn't really have that much to say. Like he mostly just like financially supported me. I don't know. So I don't really know what he thinks a lot of the time, but yeah.
That can be hard. Yeah, I don't know what your dad thinks. Well, that's tough because sometimes when we take paths that feel less us or less like they arose from within us and maybe had more ties to pressure from the family, it can take on a weight of obligation. And I don't know if that's exactly how you're feeling, but it sounds like um, you're not you're not diving into, or your heart's not as much in it right now. Your head's concerned with the logistics of timing and assignments and all of that. Um, and I'm wondering what it is, or what's something in your life that either currently or in the past that fills you with that sense of joy.
Um, I mean, I guess like spending time with my friends. I don't know. I think like, yeah, there is like some pressure from my family to become a doctor, but I also like it is something I want to do. It's just like hard for me to remember that right now, or like to think about that too much because I'm just like focusing on like trying to get everything done that I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I would have like I don't think there's anything else I could see myself doing. But it has been like harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's fair. And yeah, any time I say something that doesn't sound right to you, like please let me know. Like you just did, that was perfect. That yeah, I'm trying to get a sense of what areas in your life you derive or you brings you hope and joy. And it sounds like your friends are a big outlet for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I've said before, because I was like an only child, and I did spend like a lot of time like alone growing up, because my parents were always working. Like it was always really important to me to make friends, and like to spend time with my friends, to get like that kind of support from them was really important. So yeah, I guess that would be like one of the strengths in my life.
That's awesome. And yeah, it sounds like you have long friendships that will be there for you even beyond periods of stress, which you're experiencing right now. Um, so we've covered quite a bit of ground, and since we're nearing time, I just want to circle back and kind of reflect on what it was that we talked about, and get a sense from you how you're feeling about our first session together, if that's okay. And then I'm going to cover a couple questions at the end that we ask all of our clients on our first session. Um, so, we started off the session and you weren't really sure if your problems were big enough, if you will, to be here and talking to someone. And I do want to reiterate that I think it was very brave of you to come, especially considering your maybe internalized resistance to therapy. And I hope that the conversation has, I'll hear from you how the conversation has made you feel. But yeah, I think that it's a really good first step to exploring yourself and the underlying issues that are giving rise to the sleeplessness and the anxiety that you're having, and tackling that head on before it spirals into a less manageable um, problem. We also kind of talked about your experience in med school, from a culture standpoint. Has You haven't been feeling as connected to your classmates, because of your identity as an Asian woman, and that has been additionally difficult and something that might be worth exploring in future sessions, to understand those interactions in better detail, and see if there's things that you would like to kind of let go of or dive into further when it comes to those identity questions. And then lastly, we went through and I got a better sense of your family and your experience growing up. And a few of the things that I heard there made me think that it was additionally good that, well, you have a good support network of friends that it sounds like you're comfortable sharing things with. And maybe that is sufficient, but it's also, I think, helpful when you're under as much stress as you are to have an additional outlet where it's safe to say whatever you want. So how does that all sound to you? How did you feel during our session today? Is there anything else that you would like to touch on before we close up?
Not really. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm still getting used to the idea of therapy. Like, part of me thinks that like maybe I do need it because like some of my friends have suggested it, but like also a part of me is still like not sure whether or not like it's necessary. And like I don't know, like a lot of the stuff that I'm going through just seems like those are like normal life problems and not like problems that are like big enough for therapy. So I guess I'm just like feeling kind of conflicted.
Yeah, I would say it sounds like the things that you are experiencing right now are sizable enough to warrant a few exploratory therapy sessions, if you feel comfortable doing so, just to get to the root of the insomnia and the anxiety. And I'd like to go through a few more specific questions around the presenting symptoms that you're experiencing, and see if there's any way that we can further support in terms of cognitive behavioral therapy or anything like that.
Okay.
If that sounds good to you. And then I think, well, that was all I had for this session. If you're good, I don't know that we can work out times later, but it was a pleasure meeting you today. And yeah, we will talk next time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna stop.